Hey, how's it going guys? My name is Ray. And since Valentine's Day is almost here, I'm gonna put a pause to our pasta week and I'm gonna start on the Valentine's Day dinner idea. It's still gonna be pasta today, but it's not gonna be part of the pasta week. It just happened to be a pasta dish. But anyway, today I'm gonna show you how to make lasagna, but I'm gonna swap out the normal beef sauce with some ragu. And also I'm gonna play around with the presentation to make it look cute for the Valentine's dinner, right? So yeah, without further ado, let's cook.
So first we're gonna start by making the ragu. All you need to do is just to prepare the garlic and the mirepoix. Mirepoix is pretty much an equal mix between onion, celery and carrot. All you need to do is just to slice the onions, the carrots and the celery into similar thickness and size. And with the garlic, all you have to do is just to slice it into roughly the same size. Next, heat up a pan over medium-high heat. Drizzle some olive oil into the pan. And before the pan gets too hot, you can add in the vegetables, because you want to start sweating the vegetable, not frying them until they're brown. Then to that, we're just gonna season it with a generous pinch of salt and black pepper. Then add in 1 bay leaf and 1 rosemary sprig. Saute them until the onions are soft and translucent and the carrots and celeries are soft enough. Then push the vegetables to one side and you can start cooking the steak. This is not really a steak though, this is a chuck. Beef chuck is a secondary cut, therefore it needs longer cooking time. It's perfect for this kind of dish. All you have to do to it is just to sear it first on both sides, just like cooking steak, with some salt and black pepper. Make sure you put a generous amount of it. Then once you flipped it, you can season the seared side as well evenly. Don't forget to move the vegetable around as well as you're cooking the beef chuck. You don't want the vegetable to burn onto the pan. When the beef has been seared on both sides equally, add in the tomato puree and just cook it up for about 30 seconds to 1 minute just to take the raw edge off. After that, you can add in about 1 cup of red wine. You should use one of your favorite wine for this. Then just cook off the alcohol and reduce the red wine until it's syrupy, before adding in a can of diced tomatoes. And whenever you're introducing a new ingredient into the pan, don't forget to cover it over the beef, just to make sure the beef gets its flavor as well. And so after cooking the canned tomatoes for 30 seconds, it's time to add in a can full of water. And just try to bring it up to the simmer. And once it has started simmering, just put on the lid. Then just transfer the pan into a preheated oven at 150 degrees Celsius for about 2 to 3 hours depending on how thick the beef chuck is. Mine took exactly 2 hours, but it's because this is a really thin piece. A foolproof way to test it is just to take it out after the first 2 hours and try to fork the meat like this. And if you can shred the meat with a fork easily like this, then your beef ragu is pretty much done. And now all you have to do is just to wait it out until it's cooled down a little bit and easy enough to handle. And in the meantime, we can start on our bechamel sauce. So just heat up a pan over medium heat and put some butter into the pan, about 50 grams, followed by a tablespoon of plain flour. And just cook the two of these until the butter completely melted and the flour mixed together like so. And after cooking the flour and the butter together for 30 seconds, add in 300 ml of cream, followed by a cup of milk. Mix them well together. Then we're just gonna season it with a sprinkle of nutmeg powder. And only then we can start adding in our cheese. I'm using a mixture of mozzarella, cheddar and parmesan today, but feel free to use any cheese you fancy. Then just give them a good mix and cook them down together until the mixture has thickened and the cheese are all melted. Then at the very last minute we can season it generously with some salt and black pepper. And once it looks like it has this kind of consistency, when you can coat the spatula easily with the mixture, just transfer your bechamel sauce into a bowl and let it cool down completely to room temperature before using. And while waiting for that to cool down, we can finish our beef ragu. Just remove our now tender and succulent beef from the sauce onto a chopping board. Then grab 2 forks and start shredding the meat. And with the sauce, we're just gonna pass it through a sieve. This is just to take out most of those big chunks like the bay leaf, rosemary, celery sticks, and just to make sure in general that the sauce is velvety and smooth. Then transfer the beef back into the sauce. Add in a handful of basil leaves. And the residual heat from the sauce should be able to heat up the basil leaves enough to release its flavors. After that, we're just gonna let this cool on the counter with the bechamel sauce while we move on to cooking our pasta. So just heat up a pan over high heat. I like to use water straight from the kettle so it's easier to bring it up to the boil, and do the usual drill. Add in a generous pinch of salt and a generous drizzle of olive oil. Then just put in your lasagna sheets alternated like this so they don't stick to each other. And once they're cooked, you can just drain it onto a colander and pick it out one by one while smearing some olive oil onto both sides. This is just to prevent it from sticking to each other because we're gonna do something special about this. By all means, you can skip this step. This is just an idea for plating. From this point on, you can literally just make up your lasagna, just layer it straight away onto a tray or even ramekins. But since this is for Valentine's Day dinner, I want to do something special about the plating. So just grab your cookie cutter, pick the size that's equal to the size of the food ring you have. So after you have that, just spread out the circles. Just make sure they don't stick to each other. I'm gonna just do it on a plate so it's easier to manage and move around. And now on a tray lined with baking paper, just place down your food ring and line it with some more baking paper. Then we can start stacking our lasagna inside. So start at the very bottom with a pasta sheet, followed by bechamel sauce, then followed by the ragu, and also a sprinkle of cheese. Use the same mixture as the one that you use for the bechamel sauce. And also for adding in the ragu, just make sure it's not too wet. Just try to get rid of excess sauce as best as you can before putting it into the ring. Excess sauce can make this dish messy and it wouldn't hold the stack. So all you have to do is just to keep repeating those steps until you get to the very top. Now on this last layer, you don't have to do the beef ragu, but just go straight with the bechamel and the cheese. Then all you need to do is just to press it down from the top using the excess baking paper and just slide the ring right out. And now we're just gonna put it in the fridge and let it harden. So the idea is that you can just relax on the day, just take it out of the fridge and pop it in the oven straight away, and you get a lasagna within 20 minutes. And for decoration, I'm gonna use some Parmesan crisps that I'm just gonna form into discs like this. Then we're just gonna pop it into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 15 minutes, or until it looks something like this. And now I'm just gonna try to form 3 shapes out of them. I'm gonna do cone on the first one, and second one I'm gonna make a taco Pringle kind of shape, and the third one I'm just gonna leave it as it is. And now here we go, I'm gonna show you how to finalize the lasagna. Just pop it on a tray lined with baking paper and pop it into a preheated oven at 250 degrees Celsius for about 10 to 15 minutes, or simply until golden brown like so. Then all you need to do next is just to get rid of the burnt bits from the bechamel sauce. Slide it right onto the plate. Add the Parmesan crisps on top, followed by a piece of basil leaf. Doesn't that look cute already? And there you have it guys, my special Valentine's Day lasagna with beef ragu, in which I chose to put some more sauce on the bottom just before sliding in the lasagna and use the Pringle shaped Parmesan crisp.
How do you find that idea interesting? It might require a bit more effort, but I promise you it's really worth it. And if you did like this recipe, please leave this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Instagram and Twitter to get the latest update on my videos. And here are links to my previous videos, so don't forget to check that out as well. And if you're already subscribed but you don't get my videos on the homepage, that's because you have to click on the bell button first. But yeah, anyway, as usual, if you have any requests, leave the comment below. And yeah, there we go all for today. See you next week guys. Bye!